Well, welcome back, everyone. The hearing growing on the drug issue facing the U.S. Let's bring in the former director of special operations for the Drug Enforcement Administration, Derek Maltz, and former senior DEA special agent and global director of counter-narcotics technology for Rigaku Analytical Devices, Michael Brown. Good morning to both you gentlemen. We appreciate you being on with us today. It's a very important topic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Derek, you also testified with our very own Jaeson Jones at the congressional hearing. You had a contentious exchange with Mississippi Congressman Benny Thompson. Can we just take a listen to that first before I get to you?
I'm embarrassed for the Republican majority wasting the committee's time on so-called investigations. Today's hearing is yet another stunt to appease that crowd.
The administration's policies related to the border are a recipe for disaster. And I'm not a MAGA lunatic, okay? Without border security, we have no country. Thank you very much. And for the ranking member, sorry we're wasting your time.
Hold on a minute. Why you reference me?
Because in your opening statement, you said that this was a charade, it was a waste of time, whatever words you used, and kids are dying at record levels, and I don't appreciate that.
Look, I said nothing.
Hold on, the ranking member is not recognized.
Wow.
I mean, listened to that when it happened. And
That's
I was like,
one of the most contentious committee. I had a lot of committee hearings in Congress. That was one of the most contentious hearings. Can you walk us through what you felt like at that moment and why it's important for people to care about what's happening at our border?
Thank you for asking. First of all, I was there representing families from around America who are burying their dead kids. And I also work very closely with law enforcement, so I'm very current on the trends that are going on in the country. Jaeson Jones, who's an expert on the border and the cartels, came up to testify, to educate the Congress, to make sure America understands what's really going on. Here's the difference. Jaeson lives on the border every day, and the Beltway folks live in a bubble, so they don't know. Bottom line is that we went there to deliver information, and it was very upsetting to hear this senior-level ranking member official basically saying it was a waste of his time. He actually referred to this as a Groundhog Day with Southwest border issues. Well, I'm sorry, the Mexican cartels and the Chinese criminals are invading our country, and there's a full-scale attack on our kids. This is not something to joke about. And I didn't go there with any kind of political agenda. And he referred to MAGA extremists like 7 times in his opening remarks. So it was really upsetting. The families are upset. Actually, many of the families now want to send them the funeral notices and the obituaries of their kids to his house.
wow.
And because they're so upset.
Just awful.
That's
Terrible.
That's terrible to think that they have to go to those lengths. Michael, the DEA is reporting a widespread threat of fentanyl mixed with xylazine, there we go, sorry, aka what they're calling it now as tranq. Can you talk about the specific dangers that we are facing now with this new strain of drug?
I think what we have to understand is that there exists a symbiotic relationship between fentanyl and xylazine, which the traffickers use to extend the high of fentanyl, so to speak. But this brings us back to the epicenter of the problem. As my colleague Derek Maltz stated, it is the Chinese criminal organizations, the precursor chemical supply chain to Mexico, which enables the cartels to mass produce millions of fentanyl pills, which are then spread across America. And then we see the combination of xylazine with that fentanyl. Now, we have to understand also, xylazine is a legal veterinarian sedative used across the world. I got online last night. I could have bought a kilo of xylazine from India or from the United States distributor with a prescription. So trying to corral and control xylazine will be very difficult until we deal with as I said, the epicenter of this problem, and that is the availability of cartel fentanyl.
Wow, I mean, it's horrible. And you also hear it also eats the flesh. I mean, it's just absolutely terrible. But I think we have Jaeson Jones now. If we can bring in Jaeson Jones, you know, our correspondent there. Jaeson, you've testified. Talk to us a little bit briefly in about a minute or so about your experience at this hearing.
Sarah, Michael, it's good to be with you this morning, you know, and it's great to be, and I appreciate the great work of Derek Maltz being there to testify as well. That's an American hero there trying to represent American families who've lost their loved ones across this country. Listen, the whole point of this hearing and for going up there was to try to illuminate the operations of the cartels, to understand the evolution of what they've done. They've gone from organized crime in '06 into an insurgency when we saw them fighting back against the Calderon administration, and then into terrorism as they were conducting mass murders of migrants and Mexican citizens throughout Mexico. You know, you may remember the 300 men, women, and children killed in Allende, and the list goes on. And then finally, where we see them today is a true parallel government. You know, in the discussion you're having right now with Derek and your other guests there, you know, talk about the weaponization of fentanyl. This is a great example. They've gone from regular fentanyl, changed the analogs, created parafentanyl, then serafentanyl, and now what are they doing? They're intermixing xylazine, and there's a whole other set of xylazine categories coming in now that are going to more weaponized fentanyl. The problem is the American public and our elected leaders are not aware of it. And one last thing I want to say here real quick, and that is that one of the things that I told them is that we have to understand how the cartels operate. They do not fear the United States government. They don't fear the Mexican government. What they fear are their rivals. And this is why they keep getting worse and worse, because they have to. Because if they don't, their fear is that another cartel will take them over. So what happens? They keep becoming more and more hyper-violent and getting more and more military-grade weapons from around the world. This is why they have surface-to-air missiles now. So if you tried to literally fly over the Sierra Mountains to go in on some of the bosses like El Mencho and El Mayo, I mean, this is the level of armory that they're up against. So this is no longer a law enforcement operation. And that's really what we were trying to come across with.
That's just unbelievable.
It really is. Jaeson, we really appreciate all the work that you do down there, and are grateful that we have you on our team when you were speaking, when people like you have been asked to come speak.
And I just want to note,
Congress.
if I could, Michael Brown, I see that Army Ranger in the background. Thank you for your service, sir. And all of you
Yes,
guys,
sir. Thank you.
You're all heroes in my book.
Absolutely.
You know,
Thank you.
Jaeson Jones, Derek Maltz, Michael Brown, we appreciate having you on.
Thank you.
Great to be with you. Thank you, guys.
And you're watching Wake Up America Weekend only here on Newsmax. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.